Hi, this is Gilles, the radio prepper. It's a little windy today. It's not a bad day, but well, it's a little cloudy too. But for the north of France, I can't complain. Something I haven't talked much about, and I should have, is listening. It's actually a hobby, SWL, shortwave listening. Most of the time we would spend on the radio in a crisis situation would be listening. Now, what do we use when everything else fails? Normally we would have a small receiver with SSB, single sideband, and AM to listen to broadcast radio stations and get some news. But when that doesn't work, what do you do? And someone during World War II in the trenches found out and built a foxhole radio. It's a very, very simple design. It only uses a coil of wire, a diode made with a razor blade, and a pair of high impedance earphones. And that's it. Of course, you need an antenna, a long wire, and you need a good ground connection. But you can actually make a radio that doesn't use any batteries at all. And that's absolutely amazing. Now, they're not so hard to make, but if you're not into building stuff, well, there is a solution for you. There it is, Patriot Radio. And this is a fairly small radio. It's a radio receiver in a very nice case, I have to say. It's even, I think it's watertight. It has an O-ring around it. I might even use that case for something else. Another project. But okay, here we have the high impedance earpiece. A normal earpiece, earphones wouldn't work because all the energy would be absorbed by the low resistance. Remember, this radio doesn't use batteries. We have a coil of wire here, magnet wire, very thin, which has been scratched up here on top to make contact with this rod that will allow you to tune the radio. Here we have the razor blade with the antenna connection. Here we have a little pencil tip which just barely touches the razor blade, and that makes the diode. And here we have a ground connection, and that's all there is to it. It does come with some antenna wire and a ground wire, but this wire is like the stuff you use to close your bag of chips or something. It's a thin steel wire, basically that goes to the trash bin. I suggest you use your own wire. Here's the bottom side. There really isn't much to it. It's extremely simple. It's a piece of plastic with a coil, couple screws, 4 screws, and razor blade, and a little rod for tuning, alligator clips, pencil tip, little piece of I don't know if it's copper or something else, and that's it. Actually, the supplied wire is much longer than I thought it would be, so let's give it a shot. I'm using the chameleon spike for the ground rod. So I have the earpiece in my ear, and I'm trying to tune. Actually, I don't hear any static. Nothing. No popping noises, no certainly no reception. Maybe it's a diode thing that if I move the pencil tip here a little bit, but I don't hear anything either doing that. I tried earlier with my amateur radio antenna, a 132 foot end fed, which doesn't have a ground connection, but I thought good ham radio antenna should work, and I didn't hear anything either. Maybe there aren't any AM, strong AM broadcast stations around. That's possible because this radio is only designed to receive strong stations that are nearby. No static, that's what concerns me. So I've tried to make this thing work, and so far no luck. I did check the earpiece. I added a jack to it so I could test it, and it does work, so it's not the earpiece. I put a direct connection here for the selection of the tuning, and I put the direct wire here from the earphone to the pencil tip, and I just can't even get static. Now, it is a great concept. I mean, I like the idea of this radio, and we all know the circuit does work. But the implementation really isn't that great. I mean, it could be improved greatly. It's a little flimsy, I have to say. If you look behind here, okay, ignore this wire here, I added it, but this is just a piece of aluminum foil. And that's it. You know, it could be a little stronger. It's very thin. It was just about broken here at this nut. And you know, same here. This wire here is very thin, and nothing is soldered. It's all bolted on. So mine didn't work out of the box at all, and that's a problem because for $39.95, that's a lot of money. And for the same price, I can buy this, a genuine, you know, full-fledged transceiver, actually for $50, so $10 more. I really like this radio. I like the concept. I like the fact that you can have a radio that you can listen to without any power. And you know how I am about receive current draw. But this one, I couldn't make it work. And you know, it's not because of the schematic, because it's a very simple design and it's well known. It does work, there's no doubt about that. And kudos to Patriot Radio for implementing it. Whether it's practical in an SHTF situation remains to be seen, but hey, it's better than nothing. You certainly don't have to worry about your batteries getting bad. I don't know if it was because my ground wasn't good enough, but you know, the ground stake was about 10 meters, 30 feet from a river, so the ground wasn't dry, and I used the whole wire supplied with the radio. I tried my hand-fed antenna at home, but that of course doesn't have a ground, so you know, it probably wouldn't work that way. Now I could go and try, you know, many ways to make this work and spend a lot of time on it, but I just don't have that time. And I know it works and the design does work, so I do have a few suggestions to make this product a much better product, because as it is, I believe that it isn't quite up to par with the price they're selling it at. So Patriot Radio, this is for you. You need to replace this plastic board here, get rid of that and replace it with a circuit board, okay? Because these connections, I mean, I added this one here, but this strip here, or aluminum foil, isn't doing it. That's shoddy. Don't do that, guys. I mean, that's not good. You know, aluminum is not that great a conductor. First of all, it's very fragile, and this one, I believe, has a crack here near that bolt here, and maybe that's why it didn't work. I'm not quite sure. I used a hard wire here on this side, and it still didn't work, so get rid of that. Use a circuit board. You might want to use better hardware, maybe brass, I don't know, but that should be enough. But you would have a circuit board with, you know, traces of copper, and everything could bolt on it, and it would be great. It's much better than this plastic thing that you have here. Otherwise, you know, as simple as it gets, you know, it's fine. I added those wires, by the way. If you're using a circuit board on this side, everything could be soldered on the board. You could have a jack for the earpiece, and you could solder the coil as well. Everything else would be bolted on, and that would be awesome. You would have very good contacts, and the radio would work right out of the box. So I hope this helps. Have a good one.